The main grandstand is positioned along the start-finish straight, looking towards the pit lane and the pit building. If you want a vantage point that allows you to see into the team garages and onto the pit lane, then the main grandstand is the grandstand for you. Seating to the right of the grandstand is positioned along the grid, so you'll have views of the pre-race build-up as the cars and drivers go through their final preparations before lights out. If you'd like to upgrade your Grand Prix experience, hospitality suites are located in the mid and upper sections of the main grandstand. Grandstands E, F, J and K are located along the main straight, from the exit of the pit lane to the first corner. Grandstands J and K are positioned near the pit lane exit, with views of the main straight directly in front and limited views over to the infield around turn 7. You'll see the cars at high speed as they hurtle down the main straight towards the first corner braking zone. Grandstands E and F are located at the end of the main straight, in the braking zone for the right-hander at turn 1. Grandstand F is positioned at turn 1, with Grandstand E positioned just to the right of it. Views from the mid to high tiers of the grandstands can extend down the full length of the main straight in one direction and up to turn 3 in the other direction. Grandstand A is positioned on the outside of the circuit at turn 2, with elevated views extending down the main straight towards the pit lane exit in one direction and up towards turn 3 in the other direction. The best views are over the high-speed right then left corners of turns 1 and 2, where most overtaking takes place. Grandstand L is positioned on the infield part of the circuit at turn 5. This is one of the most elevated parts of the circuit, so the views are excellent and extend over sectors 1 and 2. Cars come into view as they approach the braking zone at the end of the main straight, before taking the high-speed right then left corners of turns 1 and 2. After turn 2, the cars then disappear out of sight behind the grandstand, before reappearing again on the approach to the hairpin at turn 5. Views extend down towards turn 6 before the cars disappear out of sight for the final time. Grandstand M overlooks the hairpin at turn 5. Cars come into view after the long right-hander of turn 4, heading downhill into turn 5. It's a tricky downhill corner for the drivers, as they don't see the apex until late. After negotiating turns 7 and 8, the cars come into view on the uphill approach to the high-speed turn 9, directly in front of the grandstand. Cars are in sight for a relatively short period of time, as they pass in front of the grandstand before disappearing out of sight on the downhill approach towards turn 10. Grandstands G and C are positioned around the outside of the circuit at the complex in the final corner of the lap. Cars come into sight at turn 10 and remain in sight until the final corner braking zone. Grandstands H and I are located around the pit lane entry point, just before the final corner of the lap. These are good grandstands for keeping track of who's pitted, as you'll see the cars peel off into the pit lane before the end of the lap. Cars come into sight on the downhill section of circuit after turn 13 and disappear out of sight down the main straight.